2, 3. Good day. Our group will be discussing about a case study in Buncefield oil storage explosion. I will explain the process system involved, reconstruct a simplified process flow of the system, and identify the control system and safety system used in the facility. First, I will be discussing about the system description, namely the process system, control system, and safety system. The Buncefield facility serves only as a storage to contain fuels or petrol to be later distributed to customers through United Kingdom Oil Limited or UCOP network, and store it in large above-ground tanks such as Tank 912, which was the cause of the incident. The process starts when fluid flowed through inlet pipelines and manifolds into the storage tank where it was temporarily held before being distributed to customers through tanker loading facilities. During operation, the system relied on proper flow control and level monitoring to ensure the tank did not exceed its safe storage capacity. The next is the control system. The primary control system used in the facility was the automatic tank gauge or ATG system. The ATG system is located in this part of the PNID, which we can see the LT, the level transmitter, to provide operators with real-time level indication and alarms, the LAH with the high-level alarm triggered when the fuel level reached a predefined high level below the tank's maximum capacity, and the LAHH, which is the high level alarm, a final warning alarm indicating that the tank level was approaching the critical point where overflow could occur. When any of these alarms are activated, the control room operator was expected to respond by manually stopping the filling process, usually by closing the control valve on fuel inlet line. This approach is known as the Manual Overfill Prevention System or MOPS because it relies on operator action rather than automatic shutdown. And we have the HS, which is the emergency shutdown switch in the control room, which was intended to allow operators to quickly close the inlet control valve in case of an emergency. However, in the Buncefield system, this switch had not been properly wired and therefore could not function during the incident. And lastly, the safety system in the Buncefield facility was independent high-level switch or the IHLS, which served as an independent protection layer to prevent tank overfilling. The IHLS was designed to detect when the fuel level inside the storage tank reached a dangerously high point beyond normal operating limits. Once triggered, it would automatically activate an alarm and shut down the incoming fuel supply by closing the inlet valve or stopping the pipeline transfer, helping prevent fuel overflow and potential accidents. So here we have the plant layout where the tank 912 that caused the incident is located. Here in Band A, we have the tank 915, 912, and 9110. Band is a secondary safety containment that can store the fluid of one of the tanks if ever one of them fails or cracks. And here we have the other tanks located, and each have a band that can prevent the overflow of the fuels.
So for the engineering practice analysis, the Buncefield facility used several systems to ensure safe fuel storage and transfer, including instrumentation for monitoring tank levels, alarm systems, and safety devices designed to prevent overfilling. One of the main monitoring tools was the automatic tank gauging system, or which is the ATG, which is continuously measured the fuel level inside the tank and transmitted real-time data to the control room. Operators relied on this information to monitor the tank during fuel transfer operations. To provide additional protection, the facility had a high-level alarm and an independent high-level switch. The alarm warned operators when the fuel level approached the tank's limits, while the independent switch was designed to automatically stop fuel transfer if the level became too high. However, the system had a limited redundancy, meaning it relied on only a few instruments to measure the fuel levels. If one instrument failed, the effectiveness of the safety system was greatly reduced. The safety strategy also depended heavily on operator monitoring and quick response, which increased the risk of human error. Maintenance and inspection practices were also inconsistent and poorly documented, which made it difficult to detect equipment degradation or failures. In particular, the independent high-level switch was not regularly proof tested, allowing hidden faults to remain undetected. Finally, the safety system was not fully independent from the BPCS or the Basic Process Control System, reducing reliability because a failure in the control system could also affect safety functions. These weaknesses in design, maintenance, and system independence contributed to the failure of the facility's protective measures. For the SIS evaluation or the Safety Instrumented System evaluation, the Brunsfield incident was caused by the breakdown of safety layers designed to prevent tank overfilling. The key safety-related function involved was the Independent High-Level Switch or the IHLS installed on the storage tank 912. This device was intended to act as the final line of defense by detecting a high fuel level and automatically stopping the inflow of gasoline to prevent loss of containment. So here in the storage tank 912 of Brunsfield Oil Storage Depot before the incident, we can see the IHLS or the independent high-level switch on the top of the storage tank 912. Inside the storage tank, there is the gasoline or the petrol, and here it is already in the normal condition before the incident happens. For the SIF failure, alongside this was the automatic tank caging system or the ATG, which was the part of the Basic Process Control System or the BPCS. The ATG system was meant for normal operation control, not for an emergency shutdown, and therefore should not be classified as an safety instrumented function. Despite these operators relied heavily on the ATG system, even though it had a known history for unreliability before the incident, although the IHLS was designed to be independent from the BPCS, this independence was not fully effective in practice. While it had a separate sensor, the switch had been left in a failed condition, allowing the failure to remain undetected for a long period. Brunsfield appeared to have two layers of protection, the ATG system and the IHLS, but there was no true redundancy within the safety function. The IHLS or the IHLS was a single channel system with no backup sensor, no voting logic, no alternative measurement method, and as a result, a single hidden failure completely disabled the system or the safety instrumented function. Additionally, common failures such as poor maintenance, lack of understanding of safety critical equipment, and acceptable of unreliable instruments affected both the BPCS and the SIF at the same time. This shows that the redundancy is ineffective when systematic management failures undermine all safety layers. The testing and verification of the IHLS were also inadequate. Proper proof testing was not carried out, meaning hidden faults were not detected. Operators assumed the overfill protection was working when it was not. When the high-level event occurred, the IHLS failed to operate, providing no risk reduction, although designed as a high-integrity safeguard. Its actual performance was effectively equivalent to SIL0 or the Safety Integrated or Safety Integrity Level 0. The Brunsfield disaster demonstrates the safety independence not only on having safety instruments, but on how well they are maintained, tested, and managed. Ultimately, this was a failure of process safety management rather than just a technical failure.
So for reliable and safety impact. So this slide explains the instrumentation failure and reliability issues. So the automatic tank gauge system which operators used to monitor the fuel level became stuck and stopped updating. Even though fuel was still entering the tank, the gauge continued to display the same reading. Because the reading appeared normal, operators trusted the instrument and believed the tank level was safe. Later, investigation showed that the gauge had already developed sticking problems after maintenance, but the issue was not properly fixed. This incident highlights the importance of multiple independent protection layers, reliable instrumentation, and proper maintenance to ensure safe fuel storage operation. So this slide focuses on the failure of backup safety system. So the independent high-level switch was designed to stop fuel flow when the tank reached a critical level. However, due to installation and maintenance problems, it failed to activate during the incident. Without the backup protection, there was no automatic shutdown to stop fuel transfer. As a result, operators unknowingly continued filling the tank. Fuel overflowed through the vents, creating a large flammable vapor cloud. When the vapor cloud encountered an ignition source, it caused a massive explosion and fire that lasted several days. So, this slides is ready to explain the main reliability and safety failures that contributed the bounce field incident. First, there was a design failure. So, the fuel storage system had weak overfill protection and limited independent safety layers. This created a single point of failure, meaning if the level gauge stopped working, the system could not reliably detect that when the tank was full. Second, there was an operational failure. Operators relied heavily on the instrument readings and did not manually verify the tank level even when the gauge reading remained unchanged for a long time. There was also a maintenance failure where known instrument problems were not properly fixed and preventive maintenance was weak. Finally, an integration and safety management failures meant that alarms, instruments, and shutdown system did not work together effectively, and management controls for critical equipment were insufficient.
Next is engineering improvements. To prevent a recurrence of the Mansfield overfill incident, engineering improvements must mandate a safety instrumented system, or SIS, that is physically and electrically independent from the basic process control system, or BPCS. This independent SIS must be designed to meet a verified safety integrity level, or SIL, in compliance with IEC 61511. Determined through the methodologies like LOPA to ensure adequate risk reduction for large storage tanks. Finally, a rigorous documented proof testing regime must be implemented to regularly simulate high-level conditions, verifying that all components function correctly and maintaining the required SIL throughout the asset's operational life. Next is strengthening of secondary and tertiary containment, or BANs. Ensuring robust containment integrity through performance-based design and retrofit, upgrading bonds to meet modern standards like CIR IA C736 or NFPA 30 to ensure they are leak-tight, impermeable, and structurally capable of withstanding full hydrostatic loads from fuel and firewater. Additionally, for legacy sites, a phased improvement plan must be implemented to install leak-tight isolation valves on all drainage systems and apply appropriate linings to prevent fuel migration through failed joints, directly incorporating post-incident measures such as water stops and strapping to address the specific failure modes observed. Next is upgrades to early hazard detection and mitigation systems. Early hazard detection through the installation of a comprehensive flammable gas detection system in high-risk areas such as bonded zones and tank pits. This system should provide immediate warning to the control room and integrated to automatically initiate mitigation measures such as activating water spray systems or isolating key equipment, addressing the critical gap where the original hazard assessment underestimated the risk of a vapor cloud explosion. Lastly, integration with maintenance and operational strategies. A shift to reliability-centered maintenance, or RCM, must be applied to all safety-critical elements, such as tank gauges, high-level switches, valves, and bands, basing maintenance frequencies on risk and reliability data rather than arbitrary schedules. Furthermore, a comprehensive alarm system rationalization and management review based on international standards is essential to address the control room alarm flooding that mask the critical overfill at Mansfield, ensuring that critical conditions are presented clearly to support effective operator decision-making.